Bonjour.
Good morning.
Mesdames et messieurs,
Ladies and gentlemen, honorable audience, to begin, I would like to thank the founder of the Oslo Freedom Forum, Mr. Thor Halvorsen, for inviting me to this important human rights event. It is a great honor for me to be here today for the first time with the Oslo Freedom Forum community. I am Aminatou Haidar of Western Sahara. I am fighting peacefully for the freedom of my people and the respect of their legitimate rights. My country, Western Sahara, is a non-autonomous territory. It is located in the northwest of Africa. It is surrounded by Morocco to the north, Mauritania to the south, Algeria to the east, and the Atlantic Ocean to the west. The people of Western Sahara are known for their moderate practice of Islam and their values of peace, cultural openness, and tolerance. Women occupy an incredibly important place in Sahrawi society. Western Sahara was colonized by Spain for a century. In the early 60s, the UN began demanding the right to self-determination for the Sahrawi people in accordance with Resolution 1514, adopted in 1960 by the UN General Assembly. On October 31, 1975, in violation of international law, Western Sahara was annexed forcibly by the Moroccan state. Decolonization was blocked. And this is where the tragedy of the Sahrawi people began. Since the illegal Moroccan occupation of Western Sahara, Morocco has systematically violated all aspects of human rights. Thousands of Sahrawi civilians found themselves forced to leave the occupied territories in Western Sahara simply to save their lives. Their temporary encampments were bombed by the Moroccan Air Force with napalm, white phosphorus, and cluster bombs. Tens of Sahrawi civilians succumbed to their wounds. The survivors have lived in immensely difficult conditions for 41 years in Sahrawi refugee camps. They live in refugee camps in Tindouf, Algeria. This is how my people, the Sahrawi people, find themselves torn. They're divided in two parts by a 2,600-kilometer-long wall strewn with thousands of anti-personnel mines, which have caused the deaths of hundreds of civilians. Those others who were unable to flee continue to live under the fierce repression of the Moroccan authorities. Hundreds of Sahrawi civilians have fallen victim to enforced disappearances for periods ranging from 3 months to 16 years. They have been sequestered in secret places in Morocco and Western Sahara, where they have been subjected to the cruelest methods of physical and psychological torture. And this includes enforced nudity and rape, particularly against women. And Sahrawi women continue to live with the trauma of these humiliating acts. Personally, when I was 20 years old, I was victim of this crime against humanity. My only sin was to have organized a peaceful demonstration in favor of independence for my country during the visit of a UN commission in Sahara. I was among 10 women. Over the course of nearly 4 years, we were subjected daily to the most atrocious forms of torture. Throughout our entire confinement in the secret prison in El Ayoun in Western Sahara, we were kept blindfolded. We were forced to spend the entire day on our knees in front of a wall in the cell. We were denied medical care, nutrition, and hygiene, and we were totally isolated from the outside world. Many other abducted Sahrawi women died under torture at various secret sequestration centers in Morocco and Western Sahara. According to credible testimonies from some survivors, tens of Sahrawis were buried alive in mass graves, while others were thrown from the helicopters of the Moroccan army. Hundreds were arrested illegally and sentenced with no hope of a fair trial. To date, more than 50 Sahrawi activists are behind bars in deplorable detention conditions. Furthermore, there are still hundreds of Sahrawis missing. Honorable audience, my people, the Sahrawis, struggle today in their civil and peaceful resistance to obtain their right to self-determination, independence, and respect of their legitimate rights. Despite the peaceful nature of their popular resistance, and despite appeals by foreign governments and numerous international human rights organizations, despite all of this, Morocco consistently fails to honor its commitments concerning the respect of human rights in Western Sahara. Thus, the systematic and excessive use of force is still practiced by the Moroccan authorities to suppress peaceful Sahrawi protesters, as you can see in the video. This excessive use of force has undermined the right to life of tens of Sahrawi citizens. The most recent assassinations claim the lives of two young Sahrawis, the trade unionist Brahim Saika and Adnan Rahali. As I mentioned before, I myself have been the victim of brutalities on multiple occasions. In 2005, during a peaceful protest, I was beaten. In 2005, during a peaceful protest, I was beaten in the middle of the street, illegally detained and sentenced to 7 months in prison. In November 2012, immediately after meeting with the UN Secretary-General's personal envoy to Western Sahara, Ambassador Christopher Ross, I was once again beaten and threatened at knife point by Moroccan police officers. The windows of my car were completely smashed. My house was surrounded and attacked by the police, and my family was terrorized. During the latest occurrence a year ago, on the occasion of the visit of a delegation of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, the police attacked my house and thereby prevented victims from meeting with the UN delegation. Torture and degrading treatment are still used against Sahrawi civilians arrested arbitrarily by the Moroccan police. Women and minors are not spared this repression. The Moroccan judiciary refuses to investigate these torture cases, even though several complaints have been lodged. And this refusal guarantees total impunity to the Moroccan officials involved in these acts of torture and degrading treatment. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the fact that my organization, CODESA, remains devoid of legal recognition, I have never ceased to defend the rights of my people and to raise awareness. I want the world to know their suffering and their concerns.
et la répression dont ils sont au quotidien victimes.
I want the world to know that they are victims of this oppression. But this has not pleased the Moroccan government, and to silence me on November 14, 2009, Moroccan authorities stripped me of my passport and expelled me to the Canary Islands. This was after receiving an award. And I was stripped of my passport. I was not able to contact my family or my children. And this is where I began a hunger strike, which lasted 32 days. I wanted to protest this illegal expulsion. And thanks to international solidarity, and thanks to the pressure that was brought to bear by the United Nations and the United States of America, I was able to return to my country, and I was able, once again, to embrace my 2 children. Honorable audience, in Western Sahara, the socio-economic rights of the Sahrawi people are flouted by Morocco. Mineral and fishery resources of Western Sahara are pillaged and illegally exploited by the Moroccan state and its Western partners, without any benefits to the Sahrawi people and without their consultation. Finally, given the gravity of human rights violations in the occupied territories, given the poor living conditions of the Sahrawis, given that the United Nations mission for the referendum in Western Sahara does not have a mandate to protect human rights in Western Sahara, and given the military and media siege on Western Sahara maintained by Morocco, which does not allow international observers access to this territory, given this, I am calling a solemn appeal to the Oslo Freedom Forum community to promote values of peace and tolerance in the occupied territories of Western Sahara. May the participants of this important conference join me in defending the right of my people to freedom and guaranteeing the respect of our right to self-determination. I would like to see peace not only in Western Sahara and in the entire world. I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I would like to thank the organizers of this event. I would kindly like to thank the interpreters and the donors. Thank you so much.